Oh, hold on. You're somewhat for some reason you are muted.
I don't know
Try
sign
again.
language,
Okay,
so I
go.
can't take it.
Now you're
Can I
good.
talk now?
Yeah, you're good. Now you can talk.
Hello, and welcome to World of Tanks. I'm Cabbage Mechanic, and with me as always is Tragic, the dinosaur loss. And we hope you're having a wonderful week in spite of all the crazy and horrible things happening right now. I'm being attacked by a bird. Give me just a moment to deal with that, and then we'll get into the news. Stop it. All right. Chat's filling in a little bit. Good to see you guys. Obviously, a lot of serious stuff going on, but we are going to try and have some fun and talk about tanks today.
Yes, we are.
First up on the news, we have our new YouTube series. You might have seen some teasers for it on the YouTube and the social media channels. It's going to be launching this Friday. Keep an eye out for that. It's not, of course, going to be a replacement for Meathead or Michael, but it will be something new that we're very excited about. By the way, both Michael and Meathead are doing extremely well, in case you're wondering, and they say hello and they love you. We have our D-Day Tank Rewards event going on right now. If you haven't checked out tankrewards.com, please go check out tankrewards.com. You get free stuff for playing World of Tanks. It's pretty cool. This month is D-Day themed. Of course, it's June. The anniversary of D-Day is going to be June 6th, and it's going to be the 76th anniversary, if you can believe that. We have the Sandbox test that Tragic is going to talk with you about in a moment. Our Tanks and Aces event is going on right now, or ending in July. Tragic, you may have to fill in on that one too. I missed that one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
My life has been crazy the last 3 days. I'm doing my best.
So Tanks and Aces is our nice little mission set that you guys can participate in, and if you participate in the Tanks versus Aces, you guys can actually earn a style for the T-34-85. So it's only for the tech tree version. Unfortunately, you cannot get it for any of the... you can't put it on any of the other tanks. However, you can use... so you guys can get a style for that. The style is called the... It's a very long name.
It's for the T-34-85, right?
Kentamirovets.
Oh, noble effort. Noble effort.
Yes, I tried. But yeah, so there's a bunch of missions that you can do. Most of them are destroying vehicles. Some of them are be the top XP earners. Those ones, I believe, you do not have to be on the winning team, so just being in the top 10 is a-okay. And you guys can also do 3 secret missions where each one rewards a special Soviet style, which is the Battle of Moscow, Homeland, and Soviet Assault. And if you do, the top rewards that you can get for USSR are going to be the IS-2, the Object 244, and the Churchill 3. There's also the Vasily Storozhenko,
Storochenko, I believe.
Storochenko. And you can get the IS-2M, the T-34-85M, and the Matilda 4. If you do get first, second, or third place, if you already own the vehicle, you'll receive its equivalent in gold. You can win in more than one category, so if you destroy the most enemies with the featured nation vehicles and the ace vehicles, you can get the corresponding reward for each one. In the event that multiple people have the same highest number of destroyed enemy vehicles, the winner is chosen via a random tiebreaker. So please do try and participate in that. It'll be super fun, and you can get a style, which I will be showing off the style once we move over to the live server. But let's go through some
I'm
of the
confused.
Other...
Just for the note here is Wednesday, July 1st. Is that the end of the event?
Yes. So
okay,
the
there
event
you go. So you have the whole month of June to participate.
Yeah. So the event ends at the end of the month. You basically have until the last day, which is the 30th? Yes, the 30th. Yeah. So if you guys don't finish it on the 30th, unless you're going to be staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't think you'll be able to get in that last day.
Yeah, so it's one of those deals where, you know, our events run until, like, the server reset of the next day, which is at, like, 4 a.m. So plan on the 30th being the last day.
And
Also going on, we have the Anniversary Act 2 that's going to be ending on the 15th, after which, of course, Anniversary Act 3 will be starting. As you know, it is the 10th anniversary of World of Tanks, and we'll be counting down to the official 10th anniversary celebration later this year. Until then, so keep an eye out. We're putting out a bunch of content with our developers who worked on the early days of World of Tanks. A lot of talk about how stuff developed the way it did. Some of you might find that really interesting. Some of you might not care at all. You can find it on our YouTube channel over youtube.com/World of Tanks North America. We also have the Common Test 3 1.9.1. Hopefully you guys have already checked that out. That's got a bunch of stuff about Battle Pass Season 2 in there. As you may already know, the featured vehicles for Battle Pass Season 2 are going to be the TVP and one of my favorite tanks, the M48 Patton. I'm extremely excited about this because the M48 Patton style has a surfboard on it, and I think that's awesome. So excited. Surfboard. Some of you may be asking, why is there a common test going on at the Sandbox? Good question. We don't set out to do that, but sometimes delays on one or both projects end up making it happen. But if you are someone who's super interested in the development of World of Tanks, do consider trying out both. For those of you who aren't familiar with the difference, Common Test is generally stuff that is in the pipeline for the live server. So Common Test 3 for patch 1.9.1, that's stuff that's going to be hitting the live server very soon. Stuff that's in the Sandbox is at this point technically hypothetical, and is subject to a lot of change or potentially even total rejection, as in the case of some of the changes to ammunition that we saw earlier this year. For those of you who don't know, we have opened up our WAT Salute, which is our veteran verification program, to the Canadian Armed Forces. If you're a U.S. or Canadian veteran or current service member, you can get verified through the company ID.me and get some exclusive World of Tanks rewards as a result. We have our Season 4 of Recruiter Friends started a couple days ago. If you have some people that you want to get into World of Tanks and you want to both win some rewards for it, check that out. Of course, our community league still going on, and then now Tragic is going to talk to you about the in-depth about the changes going on in Sandbox that we're going to be showing off for you.
Yes, I am. I had to unmute my mic. One last thing, though. If you guys want to participate, this week's Showdown Saturday tank is the T67, because I picked it. And you guys get to beat my score, so if you guys want to, I gave you guys a pretty easy score to beat, so definitely participate in that for some nice little extra goodies for your month of June. Anyways, we're gonna get into the lovely article that we have for the Sandbox server. So we're gonna quickly go through things, and then we're gonna hop into the Sandbox server. But these are some really interesting changes. I don't know how many people in the chat have even looked through them, but a lot of the ideas behind Equipment 2.0 is being able to have different loadouts that actually make a difference for different stats of your tank, instead of most things going towards firepower. So as you guys know, a lot of the equipment that is currently in the game are things like the gun rammer, ventilation, vert stabs, things like that. Most people go with the general idea of ventilation, vert stab, and gun rammer are the main loadout that you use for almost any tank. So the idea behind this is to be able to maximize stats for specific types of tanks and for their specific types of roles. So we're gonna go through the current state of affairs. So there's a lack of variety and a limited choice. Most people use gun rammers, ventilation, gun laying drives, camo nets, coated optics, binocs, and vert stabs. Several versions of the same type of equipment exist, so enhanced suspension and gun rammers. They're designed to improve the same combat parameter, but they're insignificant and may confuse new players. Limited variability of configurations regardless of vehicles, so like I said, most people just use vert stab, ventilation, and gun rammers. Otherwise, equipment costs do not adapt to the vehicles of different tiers, so basically that just means that tier 10 versus tier 1 both pay the same amount of money or credits towards suiting up your tank. And then there are many types of equipment to improve firepower, but few to enhance other statistics such as your speed, your acceleration, things like that. So for this sandbox, the idea is to simplify the choice of all equipment, increase the diversity, including various modifications used by players, and make equipment cost more affordable for low and medium tiers. So basically, this means if you like playing tiers 6 and 7, you'll have a lot more ease of use when you're equipping your tank. So we have one of the first major changes is changing the number of slots available. So if you're playing a tier 1, you actually don't have any slots for equipment or consumables or directives. So all of those like repair kits, med kits, you can't put those on your tank. You also cannot put consumables either. So those are some of the biggest changes that I see, is making sure that at low tiers there's not additional confusing points, basically adding equipment and consumables. So for tier 2, you can have 1 equipment and 1 consumable slot. Tier 3, you up it to 2 equipment and 2 consumable slots. Tier 4, you maximize both equipment and consumable slots, but you don't have directives. And then tiers 5 through 10, you can also add directives. So we're going to also introduce categories for slots, categories for slots and equipment. So basically this means that you actually get more bonuses if you put a certain type of equipment in a certain type of slot. So we're going to expand on this by going through this section. So firepower, survivability, mobility, and scouting are the 4 categories. So every single type of equipment will be assigned to the category that it affects. And then outside of that, new mechanics for assigning equipment to slots. Tier 8 through 10 have 2 categories. Tiers 6 through 7 have 1 category, and tier 5 and lower have no categories assigned. Alright, I can move my mic so you guys can hear me better. And then improved and bounty equipment will provide a static bonus no matter what slot they are in. So if you guys have any bond equipment, or if you guys got equipment from Battle Pass, those just apply a static bonus, which means they won't apply an additional bonus if you put a specific type of equipment into a categorized slot. So venting system, the current bonus is 7.5, the new bonus is 8.5, stabilizing equipment is 25, whereas the new bonus, I'm not going to go through the rest of the numbers, but these are basically the current bonuses and then the new bonuses. So these are some of the new types of equipment that you guys will be able to add to your tank. Improved ventilation, already something. Gun rammer, already something. Gun laying drive, already something. Vert stab, also something. Here's a new one, the improved aiming unit. So it decreases the size of the aiming circle. The gun traverse amplifier makes your gun traverse faster. So that's a really interesting one. So
improved tank helmets.
Yeah, basically. And then you guys have improved rotation mechanism, which subtracts a percentage to gun dispersion during whole traverse. So it's very similar to, I believe, Smooth Ride and one other skill. So you guys can basically stack different types of minuses, buffs and debuffs, basically. So it's moving similarly towards MMOs, which do have the ability to basically min-max. So any people who like MMOs might have an upper hand when doing these things. So module protection, you get module durability. You can also increase your hit points. You can improve your cooldown for consumables. And then Cabbage's favorite, which is improved tank helmets, which subtracts a percentage of stun duration, stun effects, and additional stun duration. So that one's really interesting. We'll move on to mobility. So people who like light tanks will definitely go through these ones. And then obviously scouting. We still have camo nets. So one thing that a few players have brought up is the fact that there are some equipment that had no demounting costs, and they now currently have demounting costs. We are aware of that feedback, so we will be adding it to our feedback reports. So outside of that, so you get additional bonuses for some of your existing equipment. So wet ammo rack, it has a different way of operation. So when your ammo rack reaches 0 hit points, it'll automatically recover to 1 hit point. So that basically means that 1 time per battle, you will not get ammo racked. Like, your tank won't automatically explode, which is super cool. It's really interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. Let us know your opinions.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of this stuff is super conceptual. It's fairly early on. It's all being tested. I see some positive, some negative comments in the chat. Some people are asking why change something that works. I think we laid out, the devs kind of laid out the reasoning there. It's because the current system is kind of stale. It's kind of unhelpful for new players. The new design slowly ramps up the complexity of the equipment and the choices so people can get a bearing on it. Gives you more opportunity to specialize.
Yeah.
You have stuff like the turbocharger, which gives you some more engine power as opposed to just the consumable for more gas. That's actually an interesting one because if I remember correctly, it was called the turbo supercharger at the time. And it was originally a U.S. aviation invention. Obviously now that's something that you can buy in a car from a dealership, so that's kind of cool. So please just be open-minded about this stuff. If you do, if you're skeptical about it, please try it out. If you try it out and you don't like it, let us know. Let us know why. The more constructive your guys' feedback is, the more helpful it's going to be to our devs as they test this stuff out and choose a direction to go.
Yeah, so like I said, guys, a lot of these allow you to min-max your tanks. So if you have a tank that is maximized for spotting and making sure all of your passive spots are lit up for as long as possible, you can do something like the improved radio set, which increases the time an enemy remains spotted for 2 seconds. There's a lot of little minute things that you can do to make sure that your tank is well suited for the role that you're trying to adapt it to. But yeah, so otherwise, equipment classes are now different. So Class 3 equipment is for tanks from tiers 2 to 4. Class 2 is 300,000 credits and can be mounted on tanks from tiers 5 to 7. And then Class 1 is anything above tier 8. And then camouflage nets obviously have changed. It now has 2 different classes. Vert stabs have 2 different classes as well and can be only mounted on tanks that are tier 5 and higher. There's also some restrictions, like spall liners won't have a class at all, and it will be available in 4 different versions: light, medium, heavy, and super heavy. And then otherwise, there's a lot of other information, but I would like to start getting into our gameplay, so that way we can
check out the article. I'm sure we'll have some videos on it.
Show it all off.
And again, please remember, people, and then I saw some people say they never listened to us. That's really not true, guys. Your guys' feedback had a big impact on the previous Sandbox, the most recent Sandbox, which involved ammunition changes, a lot of which ended up getting changed or canceled. As a result of your feedback, so it's obviously not true. Obviously, we can't make everyone happy. Some stuff that you may not like is, possibly going to happen. But please, if you're someone who's passionate about the game and cares about the way it develops, please do submit it. Gwithwolf says, really, American feedback changed it, not Russian feedback? All feedback from all 4 of our regions was considered, but yes. American feedback was specifically cited in some of the internal notes. So a lot of comments in there, guys. We did, obviously the chat scrolled past them, so if there's a specific question you have, please feel free to re-ask it. And then I think in the meantime we're going to get in some games going here on the Sandbox. What platoon do you want to be
I
on?
sent you an invite. So we're going to be on the Sandbox server for a little bit. So we're going to try and get at least a couple games in just to show you guys what kind of stuff you can put on tanks and possibly some ideas on how you can stylize or put equipment on your tank that is more suited for the role that you would like to play it. So I'm gonna bring a tier 3, and we're gonna go with the Cruiser 3, so we're gonna play that.
How many pieces of equipment do we have on the tier 3 under the new system?
2. We have
Just
2
two.
pieces.
So
Yeah.
my Locust has been cut down to the gun laying drive and the optics. I'll take a look at that and see if I want to keep those.
So I am currently running with the Cruiser 3, and
I'm going to switch to the improved aiming unit instead of the gun laying drive. I think that's going to be my change.
my game capture disappeared.
Whoops.
So I'm gonna do that. All right. Oop. And shoop. All right. Cool.
I see some people did mention that the Sandbox and the common test are a bit unstable. That is sort of the nature of them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have any crashes. But these aren't always perfectly stable builds that get pushed out. Also, we tend to have terrible ping because they're based in Belarus.
Yeah. Alrighty,
so I can't see my ping right now, but
as you guys can see, I have improved vents and an enhanced gun laying drive, both of which will basically mean, for me, I like to make my tanks super accurate, and that allows me to hone in on weak spots, which means I can fire faster and generally have a higher DPM, whereas if I had basically, if my aiming circle doesn't shrink fast enough, I don't want to risk missing a shot, so I let it close down, and then I fire off.
So I did see someone 995 said it seems more and more like Wargaming have no actual clue what this equipment will actually do to the game. That's a pretty good perception there, 9.5. I think a reasonable position might be to put up some sort of test to see what the equipment did to the game to find out.
Like the Sandbox test.
Maybe some sort of experimental server where people could test it out and we could collect data and see what happened.
Yeah.
We'll consider it.
Yeah.
Some other comments here. I see a lot of people talking about maps. I do hear you on maps, guys, and I am more than empathetic with our slow. We're quite slow about developing new maps. It's unfortunately still an extremely complicated process that 1.0 did not simplify as much as we hoped. We do have Berlin coming out in the next patch, and we do still have Pearl River coming out later this year. So there are some new maps on the horizon, and still some updates to more. You might have seen some of our super test leaks, some updates to some older maps to both improve them, work on issues like slippery rocks, work on issues like a couple areas that have invisible barriers, clipping issues, as well as some balance issues. So I believe Coast and a couple other ones are in the process of being tested to change this for.
Yeah. And then Mary Vester says, I have an honest question. What is the point of this in total? I recently joined. Do you mean the Sandbox server? So the idea behind these equipment test changes, or changes that we are testing on the Sandbox, is to see if we can create a system of equipment that allows people to further specialize your tank into a specific role. So a lot of people excuse me. So for most of the equipment that we have in game, most people only use a very limited number of equipment, even though we have several different kinds. However, on top of that, we also have basically a bunch of equipment that only pertain to one type of stat on a tank, and that is generally firepower. So things like making sure your aiming circle shrinks faster, or making sure it doesn't bloom when you traverse your turret, or other things like that. Even skills on your crew also still continue to pertain to your firepower. However, with these equipment changes, you can now do things like make your tank faster, or you can increase your hit points on a tank. So all of this basically, like I said, make sure that you can specialize your tank to a specific role. So.
All right. So a lot of different opinions in chat. Some calls for antenna physics, definitely. Tan Kwai has a question about how people will be compensated for their current equipment if it gets removed. The answer on that is we don't know what that exactly will look like yet. Again, these issues are purely conceptual. Once and if they are closer to the live server, that's when we'll figure out stuff like how the compensation will work.
So
we're obviously not going to develop a compensation plan for a feature that may not be implemented in the game.
So 9.5 says, game is too hard, so we redesign the tech tree. Here's a ton of new equipment that makes it more convoluted and confusing. I would disagree. So at tiers 1 through 4, I believe you have less than 3 equipment and consumable slots. And outside of that, most of the new equipment is very straightforward. It either makes your tank faster, increases the time someone else is spotted, and other things very similar to that. It makes it so you can see how a tank plays and then possibly increase the stat that you want to mess with equipment. It's very, like I said, similar to an MMO. Like, even though there are lots more pieces of equipment, all of them are very straightforward, I believe.
Yeah, so I think we may be getting hit with the normal issue that happens on Sandbox here, which is people only play tier 10. So we might have to go to tier 10 to actually get a game. We'll give it to 5, I think.
How does an antenna block Artie? What do you mean?
I have to see the replay. Talk to Me Goose says, any ideas on a timeline for new equipment going live on the live servers? No, because again, this is still a concept at this point. We don't even know if it will be implemented, or if it is implemented, there could be several variations of change before we move forward with trying to implement it. One thing I can pretty much guarantee is that if it does, you'll see the same process going on with like what's coming out in 1.9.1, where it goes through a common test period before. So there'll be plenty of forewarning before it gets close to the live server.
And then Mary Bester says, I have another question, which this may never happen, but what if we were able to hop out of the tanks and have it fix it ourselves? So, unfortunately, our game is rated PG-13, so implementing human figures into the actual battlefield is quite impossible, specific to legal ratings for our game.
Yeah. So yeah, I think let's hop out of this queue and pick some higher tier tanks. I don't think we're going to get a tier 3 game. Yeah, it's not a guarantee to happen. As some of you may recall, a lot of the changes that were in the previous Sandbox ended up not getting implemented. I see some people talking about complexity of the new system. I hear you guys. I don't think it's as complex as you might think it is. And again, stuff that you have already mastered, especially if it's something like World of Tanks, or if you've been playing this game for 5+ years, everything seems very easy to you. From a new player perspective, it can be different, and it doesn't mean the new system is going to be more complicated just because it requires you to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, the inevitability of putting changes like this into a competitive environment is that at some point there's going to be a meta that develops that people will write about and make media on. So even if it's not something you want to figure out yourself, you're going to be able to follow our great content creators like Codyman, True Voodoo, Nick Shocks, anybody. And they're gonna have builds for you that they've already figured out. I know some people said Quickie Baby already made a big video on the new equipment.
Yeah. So if I want to interject, but basically, I'll show you guys a quick example. So if I am looking at this Krupstair Waffentrack. Krupstair, and I looked down at my equipment and I saw that I had a camo net and I also had a gun rammer. So unfortunately, it said that, you know, you can put anything in any slot. However, I want to maximize my stats, so For me specifically, I actually moved my gun rammer into the first slot because it is for firepower, and so I can change my other 2 slots to other things. So let's say if I wanted to put binocs on it, or I can actually make my tank a little bit more maneuverable in that I can just straight up add something like experimental powder class 2. So that makes it so I get a -10 to the concealment penalty after shooting, which means if I am shooting, and let's say I am sitting somewhere, instead of getting a flat bonus, I have a flat bonus to concealment after I fire. So that's kind of nice. There's also other things. So if I wanted to decrease my aiming circle size, or I can also double up on something like dispersion during vehicle traverse, which is also a skill that you can add onto your crewman. Let's see, whichever one is my gunner. So he has skills that I can add, so I can double up on improved accuracy during turret rotation. So you can minimize the amount of additional bloom that you get just by adding these. So
I see Lucky on Twitch said that he had an Azarus code that didn't work. Lucky, if you're on the Discord, please PM me with that. If you're not on the Discord, submit a CS ticket, and we'll look into the issue and see what's up with the bonus code. Exo says, hey World of Tanks, I see you're giving options, then taking them away by telling you how you're supposed to play your tank by saying a TD can only use equipment X. What about tanks that you don't want to play like the role Wargaming chooses? So, I hear you, Exo. That said, my experience so far in the Sandbox has been that I have not felt that there's a real lack of options to go. I just equipped my Yag Panther, and there were 12 equipment choices affecting just about every parameter of the tank. So I don't know. It's that could be an issue, and if that could be good feedback. I personally, it doesn't seem that way to me right now, but I'm not sure. Okay, Pekka said, did we have a schedule change? I missed Thursday last week and didn't see what I said. Yeah, we had to delay yesterday's stream to today. We will be back on the normal schedule, which means there will be a stream tomorrow.
Alrighty, and the weekly watcher code is up, since you guys asked for it, and it is time. Alright, so...
Hey guys, please be nice to each other in chat. I know it's a tough time for everyone, but this is, it's about a video game. If you don't want to be here, you don't need to be here. And if you are going to be here, please, let's remember everyone's going through a tough time right now and be nice to each other. Josh says, will this be rolled out in stages? For example, low tier is going to one equipment slot. A later update will be for changes to upper tier equipment. It will be rolled out in stages in the idea that the tests will progressively roll out over time. So we might have a sandbox, and if the sandbox goes well, we'll probably have a couple iterations of the sandbox, and then we might have a couple iterations of super test and so on and so forth. However, if it ever does hit the live server, it will likely be a single large patch that happens on. The code, I believe, will be coming out
right now.
In about half an hour. Oh, right now. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Weekly watcher code earlier than usual today, folks. Enjoy that. Rampant says you can use the equipment if you want. You just get a bonus if you use the type of equipment that matches the slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, perfectly okay to have negative feedback. Please just try and help us understand why you don't like something instead of telling us you just don't like something. Because obviously that's going to give us something actionable to work with as far as what could change or what people just aren't enjoying.
Come on, no? Okay. Ooh, I think I hit that E25. Nice. I can't 100% tell.
Hey Mary Vester, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Our stream is we do a little bit of news. We talk about stuff that's happening in World of Tanks, and it's generally the rest of the time we do Q&As and platoon with viewers. It's more of a relaxed conversational thing. But if you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to share them. Pixie Fly says World of Tanks put up a thread for feedback on the forums. Too many pals here don't like counter opinions. My understanding is there is a feedback thread already, although Domo is actually out right now.
I don't think there is. I do know there is a forum topic for the actual Sandbox, so if you guys want to put your feedback in there for now, hopefully we'll do that, and then hopefully maybe get a nice little feedback thread actually going.
Yeah, so I did see some of the comments I've seen a couple times. Nathan on YouTube just talked about it. Please tell the dev team to re-add equipment slots for low tiers because it feels unfair. So this is something I've seen a couple other people mention, having less equipment but playing against tanks with more equipment is a rough experience. Or you feel like you're playing at a disadvantage. I think that's good feedback.
Oh no.
Sir Turd says, will the Twitch care package be released soon? If you know, gosh, I have to check, but my understanding is there will be a new one soon, yes. For those of you wondering about that, there were some questions about how long the Twitch bundle partnership would continue going on, where you get free care packages roughly monthly, not quite perfectly lined up, via connecting your World of Tanks account to your Twitch Prime account. I believe there will be a new one coming soon, and my understanding is they've been extended through the end of summer, so we should have quite a few months left.
Let me hop over to watch.
See you later, Pixie Flies. Enjoy your hike. Craig says they released the survey results before the forum thread was even posted last time. Yeah, well, the survey and the forum thread are two different forms of feedback. Generally from the forum threads, what we're looking for is the what your words are and the ones that we see consistently from a lot of people. The survey obviously is a more formatted, rate this on a scale of 1 to 10.
Alright. My webcam is breaking out massively, so I have a fake green screen thing that makes it so my background disappears so you can see it wigging out a little bit, but it is intentional a little bit. Let's see.
Okay. See, People's Panzer says almost every new piece of spotting equipment favored wheel vehicles. It's really not been thought through for light tanks. Panzer, just help me understand. Could you give me a specific example?
Anmal wants to know, are we also streaming on Twitch? Yes, our Twitch channel is twitch.tv/ World of Tanks NA. Let me send you the link. That way you don't have to find it. There you go.
Boss said cabbage is the group call thing you talked about on Discord a few years ago. Helping. So I handed off a roster to the marketing guy who asked me for it. Basically, I don't know when they're gonna contact the people on it. But that's up to them. It's all user research stuff. Thank you for any of you volunteered.
Nah. See, I wish we could go into tier like 2 or something like that, so we can like show off the low tiers. So one thing I like about the low tier equipment slot minimization is, I mean, it definitely minimizes the amount of seal clubbing that a lot of people have been doing over the years, and now, and it's really funny, in the Dev Diaries video, they're like, now it'll come down to whether you have skill. And I thought that was really funny. Someone pointed that pointed that out, and I kind of had to chuckle at myself, because I was like, dang, that's quite the... Ooh, okay. Equipment and visibility. Let's change so I'll show you guys in game. I'm gonna change my second slot to something that's visibility based, and I can actually go to the visibility category, or the scouting category is what it was called, and let's actually change that with my ventilation, so I can swap my ventilation with... That's also a...
So somebody earlier asked if you could add armor. I don't see an armor one, but there is both a module durability and a hit point buff. Yeah. So there are some durability buffs.
Alright, so if you guys want to look at my loadout now for the Leopard 1, I now continue to have the Vert Stabilizer because I like to have less dispersion when I'm moving, traversing, and when I'm rotating my turret, so that's obviously on there. I also have my improved vents, mostly because that just boosts all the skills that I currently have on my crew, and guys, the improved vents also count for mobility and firepower, so you can actually put it in either of these slots, which is pretty nice. And then I've actually moved my gun rammer to the 3rd spot. I could also possibly change it up for, where is it? I could change it for the panoramic triplex, or I can do my coated optics like usual, or I can throw on the enhanced gun lane drive. But I'm going to leave this as such because this tank is kind of a speedy mid to long range sniper. So, alright.
Azer says, do a tier 2 count in once. If you're on Sandbox and you'd be interested in doing that, let us know. Just say like I'm on Sandbox and I'm down chat. We'd have to get, I think, quite a few people to get a low tier game going with the population on the server right now.
Yeah, we would.
Because it's off times for RU, so it's gonna be tough to get games at some of the tiers.
After this, oh sorry.
RU is the primary participators in. So I did want to catch People Panzers respond to me, said examples mean removed camo net binos from lights, but added equipment for 9% camo on the move, equipment for reducing bush camo 20%, and equipment to keep enemies spotted for 18 seconds. Gotcha, okay, I can see how some of those would be wheeled vehicle oriented.
Yeah.
And then Captain Napalm earlier had a I'm still waiting for my EBR KV232 wheel triple stack double barreled KV2.
Jeez.
Just for you, Captain Napalm. No one else.
And then Ruthless wants to know, are we platooning today, or is it just me and Cabbage? So after this match, we're actually going to swap over to the live server, but we'll still continue talking about Sandbox. We don't want to spend the whole time on Sandbox. We just wanted to make sure we go through some of the equipment changes and basically give you guys some examples of ways that you can kit out your tank, and some minor changes that you can make so that way you can either still play your tanks in the same way that you want to, or you can kit out a tank to make it a little bit more role specified. So, and then ABCDRN. Anyways, I like your name. Oh, is that how you pronounce? Oops,
I'm just
rock.
throwing.
Anyways, wants to know why do we take optics off TDs? I mean, TDs aren't.
We did.
Yeah, you can't quit optics onto TDs anymore. But
really?
I don't know if TDs are really meant for spotting their own targets.
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll have to look into that.
Oof, that was a good shot.
No more mean bush Sneve in 90. If this goes through, I'm going to be needing a refund. Well, we can't risk any changes to the game. That would hurt the even 90, so we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Even 90 is a true patrician's tank. Wyken B says, Watt forcing you to play a tank a certain way. Well, I mean, it's kind of an interesting take, I think, given that you actually have a lot more playstyle options under the new system than the old.
Yeah.
Even accounting for stuff like that, I think.
So you can. So a lot of people are saying that we're forcing you to play a certain way. No, but we are giving you bonuses to the perceived role of a lot of tanks, which is nice. You can still obviously play tanks the way you want to, and you can still put a lot of equipment in whatever slot that you also want to. But like I said, certain slots will give you bonuses.
Well, I just got ammo racks for 2,500 damage.
You should have used the wet ammo rack then.
Apparently I should have. My turret is nowhere near my hull anymore. One of those days. Alright, meanwhile, I'm going to head back into chat and check some of these, because I'm getting some conflicting information here.
For what?
Which vehicles can use which equipment?
A lot of vehicles... I believe...
I'm just going to check it, and I'm on the Sandbox, so I can look at it myself. No reason not to.
That's
All right, let's see here. Okay, so my tier 10 light, the Panzerwagen, it does appear to have access to binos.
Oh, does it? Huh.
Let's see here. Okay, not binos, I have optics. I also have so the you can see some of the stuff has tested equipment on it. It's supposed to be more light-oriented spotting equipment. So the light has the commander's vision system, which, as someone earlier mentioned, reduces the concealment of enemy vehicles behind foliage. It can reduce the amount of time that your vehicle is visible. So I think what they're at least initially, I think they may just be trying to get people to use some of that new equipment. We'll see how it shakes out in the longer term.
And like we said, guys, this is a sandbox, so it is 99% just testing. We have we're using this as a close example to being the live server, so that way we can get an idea of how this would be on a live server.
Okay. So somebody said you can't get coded optics, but you can still get binos on a TD, and then some people are upset because they feel like that is constricting their playstyle. Note taken. I will ask our PDM about. Again, I think it's possible to me that some of this stuff is they're just trying to really get people to try the new equipment to see how it works out. I will ask our PDM, who's actually Shots at Wheels, by the way. The long-time watchers will know who that is. And he should have some answers, or should be able to get some answers for us on those questions. So I think, some people are saying, like, if I want to play a more active TD, but you prevent me from using coded optics and force me to use binos, I have to play less actively. I hear you. If I want to use a vision buff equipment.
You are using heat. Yep.
Which says it's tier restricted in class. Yeah, I did know about the tier restrictions. I was just trying to get a handle on the different class restrictions, because they seem very specific. Like, they're specific pieces of equipment, and not.
We should be able to use anything on anything, just not get the bonus. It shouldn't remove options. Oh, I
appreciate the feedback. Again, guys, it's a really early experimental test, so that's what we're treating it as.
You pay super testers. What are you paying them to test? I believe they have a very regimented way that they're testing things. So they're testing specific things. I don't know the exact details, but they don't test things in the way that most people think super testers test things. If that makes sense.
I would take Card. That's an interesting question, because we get a lot of comments on here about people don't agree with the opinions of super testers. So I think the devs, in practicing some larger changes to the game, are experimenting with them in a format where people other than super testers can get a hold of them. So I see that as a win. I don't know why you want to see that as a negative. I think it's cool that people other than super testers have a chance to try stuff like this out and provide their feedback. I did see some people are like, People Spencer says there's some great ideas in Equipment 2.0, requires a fair amount of balancing. I mean, I think that's the hope. Like, that's what we're hoping to come out of the first test. We're not going to get the balance right. Certainly not on the first, let's be honest, probably not on the first release stuff. The way metagames develop is when, people figure out a combination that is unexpectedly powerful, and then it takes over the game and then has to be adjusted. And that's why live games like World of Tanks have to have constant balance examination and rebalancing.
So Spartan Gaming says, will EBRs ever be nerfed? So this is something that we discussed during our Q&A with the developers, or rather that our CCs discussed with the developers. But basically, the devs are aware that the EBRs have changed the meta in a way that people perceive negatively, and one of the things that they see in terms of this is that for people who have high skill, EBRs are very powerful in their hands. And normally that's how things are for other tanks. However, when you compare that with people who have low skill, people who have low skill are abnormally poor performing in the EBRs. So if you say this is the middle for how Unicums are playing, they're playing about what you expect. But when you consider the low skill
I want to cut you here though, because I think
Sure.
like the root of the question was the devs have stated that they're going to be looking heavily at the balance of wheel tanks later this year.
There you go.
Yes, there's a good likelihood.
But expanded answer.
Yes, the reason why it hasn't already been addressed is because there's been a lot of weird looking data on the wheeled vehicles, specifically because bad players actually do way worse than them. Exo says, newsflash, people who play tanks bad play tanks bad. Yeah, that's fair. And there's something to be said too about the attitude. I think that there's a move more towards becoming data informed and not data driven. But we are definitely still very much data driven, and sometimes that means that we move kind of slow.
Mansplain. I don't think that's mansplaining. Mansplaining is.
Sorry for mansplaining, Tretch.
No, I think I don't know if he was talking about you or talking to me, but
because I just wanted to cut to the chase on that one.
I don't think you were mansplaining. Mansplaining would be like trying to explain what I was explaining in the same exact way, but with different words. You were explaining that the devs are looking at possibly changing the EBRs, where I was saying this is why they're possibly looking at it.
So Voss said the global shell velocity nerf on the Sandbox was accidental, right? Yes, it was accidental. It was a bug. They are aware of it. I'm not sure if they fixed it yet. Card says, I don't enjoy being the test monkey. I mean, Card, you don't have to participate in the tests. It's entirely optional. If you don't want to, feel free not to. Elvis on YouTube says, read chat. Okay.
All right, so Cabbage, I did invite you to a platoon. So if you guys are on Twitch, the platoon queue list is open, so feel free to join. Oop, I sent that to all platforms, my bad. So feel free, if you are on Twitch, to join our platoon queue. We'll start inviting people, and we'll continue to talk about Sandbox. So please do bring up your questions. We will try and answer things as best as we can, so that way y'all can do things.
Okay.
And quick comment, Sir Turd the Third, you should just hop onto Twitch. I appreciate that you messaged me for platoon invites, but man, I want to be able to keep things in order. Join us on Twitch.
People's Panzer says that bad players drive straight into the enemy and die 1v15 EBRs should not be accounted for in balancing them. They will do just as bad whatever is changed top-down balances for EBRs. I don't actually disagree with that statement at all.
Cabbage.
So we are over on the main client now. The platoon queue is open. If you would like to platoon with us, hop in that queue with that exclamation point join space your username command into Twitch. If you are not watching us on Twitch, we do recommend considering trying it. If you don't like Twitch, that's fine, but we have a lot more options and cool stuff for you to interact with the stream on Twitch, including the Azarus add-on, which allows you the chance to earn free World of Tank stuff by answering trivia questions.
Should exclamation point join the platoon.
I should.
There you go.
But yeah, if you don't like Twitch, that's fine. But just be aware that there's a lot of cool options on Twitch that aren't available on other platforms.
Yeah. So update to feedback. If you guys do want to submit feedback for the Sandbox test, for one, I highly recommend that you try it out. Just because the more information that we have from Sandbox, the easier it is to make more informed decisions for the devs. Otherwise, if you guys go to the article that is on the front page, there is a little link in the top right-hand corner of the article. If you click on that, you guys can go to the forums and discuss it. If you're not a huge fan of the forums, you can always post on Reddit. I am consistently on Reddit, and generally I do like to make sure that I check those. Where are all of my tanks? Oh, that's why.
Magic's tanks.
I found it. I found
Pyrolysis says, just so you and team members know, a lot of us players understand you guys have nothing to do with the changes. You're most direct link to those. Hey, yeah, we appreciate that. And we've been able to do things like the recent dev stream. We've done some dev Q&As in the past. We hope to have another dev stream Q&A in the future, probably with the next major update, which might not be 1.9.1. But yeah, we hear you. And like I said, we don't mind taking the heat. Just please try and make your feedback constructive, because I can't write a report that says Batman X Monster Energy 420 360 no scope says that you suck and should quit. Like that's not a report that's going to affect anything about the development of the game, you know?
Yeah. So Spartan Gaming says, do you think players should get assistance damage for destroying the wheels of an EVR? Yes. Period. Like currently, so one of the reasons why I believe you don't currently get experience for this, for destroying wheels, is because normally when you get assistance damage for destroying a track, it is because the track is destroyed. So tracks, both sides are considered one entity. If you destroy one, both of them are technically destroyed, and therefore you cannot move. However, when you destroy a single wheel of a wheeled vehicle, the vehicle can still move. And so it is not considered technically destroyed. Like, it's considered damaged because they're each individual entities, which is really unfortunate because it makes things a lot more confusing. But it's something that I've seen.
That could change with the wheeled vehicles being looked at later
I
this
would
year.
love that to happen.
I think that's very likely. We'll see. So one sharp should see. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Definitely don't worry about if being a good player and platooning with us. We are bad, particularly me. So don't worry about it. This is all for fun. We're not gonna care if you don't do anything good.
I'm gonna try not to flip my tank. Damaging a wheelie is really debilitating. Yeah, definitely. Like I personally just suck at wheelies.
Yeah, when I see people complain about wheelies, that is the feedback that I most agree with. Because I actually got to be honest, a lot of people have a lot of hate for wheelies I don't totally understand. I may just not understand how they're ruining the game as much as other people, but they don't feel like they're ruining the game as much to me. I actually feel like I'm probably annoyed by a wheelie less than I am by certain tanks' armor or SPGs or stuff like that. But hey, like I said, you have a different experience than me. That said, I do think the issue with the wheels being immensely tough and not actually debilitating the vehicles when they get hit, for me, that is the biggest issue with them.
Yeah.
Nitzer says, when you hit a wheelie with a 215B 183 and the wheel absorbs damage, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Nitzer. I do think that is the most valid complaint that I've read about wheelie boys. Voss says, I hate wheelies because they destroy the CW meta. Most games are wins, losses due to EBRs. I'll have to watch some more Claim play. I 100% believe that, because we do know that the biggest issue with wheelie boys is that the really skilled, educated players are... Yeah. And that's an issue in almost any game that has a competitive scene. If you have vehicles that have incredible mobility, you're going to find in almost every competitive video game that those vehicles are really strong.
Yeah. Like, the fact that you can reposition basically insanely quickly, especially in Clan Wars. Like, if you've ever watched, and, you know, this'll tell us how many people, played tanks for very long. But if you ever watched WGLNA, one of the biggest game changers is being able to reposition very fast. And this is because you want to be able to not only have vision, but also be able to reposition so that way you can stop a push, or stop a tactical retreat, or a tactical change of vision. So a lot of it is very much has to do with the fact that they do change how quickly you can get to different areas of the map.
Napalm, you might be right. I did see somebody ask about EUNA transfers. I don't have any information on when that situation might be available. Ellen said, "Good morning. Missed you all yesterday through my routine around the morning." Yeah, sorry, Ellen. Things are a bit crazy here in the United States right now. This will be the only deviation from the schedule, which means we will be on tomorrow at 6 to 8 p.m. NA Central Time, and we'll be back next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time.
Apparently I am very quiet, so I'm gonna try and be louder and more directly into my microphone.
Oh, also, I think Goose, or Maverick, talk to me, Goose, asked earlier about the bond shop. I'm making some progress there in that I think I've found the right person to ask, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. So I don't know the whole story on that. That obviously is one of the most asked questions that we have. When is the bond shop going to take over? So I hope to have an answer for you guys.
I told you, there's a super secret date on a date on a super secret calendar that I've seen, but it's not definitive yet. Not definitive.
Right, I'm trying to find out when and if it's going to be definitive.
Okay, that's fair. That's been my go-to answer, because I've seen it with my own eyes. They have not deceiveth me.
Hey, friends, by the way. I think friends popped in and said hi. Don't have any information on when the next black market might be. And now I'm going to go back to pretending I don't know what black market is.
What's
is it
black
soon,
market?
Kim? Yes, exactly.
No, seriously, what's black market?
Soon. Wacky B says, "Do you two work for World of Tanks?" Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Bob.
We are corporate shills. we
work for the
keep
man.
It pretty honest around here.
Right.
As far as mans go, ours is pretty cool.
Yeah. Mans.
One Sharp says, "Where's the platoon list?" It's in a box below the stream. And then you can enter the platoon list by typing !join space and then your World of Tanks username into chat, and then the bot will automatically put you in. Job titles: I'm the senior community manager, and Tragic is a community streaming specialist.
Yes.
Have you guys had your annual Moonbase visit yet? We're waiting to see on how the SpaceX stuff goes.
Yeah.
Seems going pretty well, though. Did you guys watch the SpaceX launch?
I did. Holy crap!
It was
insane.
It was a nice moment of hope in a particularly dark time for us.
6 minutes to get to orbit, right? Something like that. Time.
People's Panzer says, "Can you remind Mints that the Chieftain Mark 6 exists?" They might be sick of me talking to them about that particular thing. But Sir Turd says, "Why are my comments getting removed?" I don't see them being removed, sir.
Yeah, I don't see them being removed.
Nightbot might be cutting them out, but if Nightbot's cutting them, it should tell you why.
Whoop.
Oh, I'm spotted.
Oh boy, I'm also spotted.
Oh, and I'm being blocked.
Oh, I just... This guy's name is chat is disabled.
My RNG's not working.
I'm pretty sure that it's the Progetto, for sure. Can you send me the Twitch link? Yes, I can. Tragic. I saw my name. Tragic, can I have access to the super secret calendar? I will be secret about it. No, because I would like to keep my job. Thank you very much. And then Spaz wants to know any word from devs on putting credit boosters back in the game store. Cabbage, do you want to comment on that?
I haven't. So I asked about it, and the answer was the flood of credits and gold from over the holidays. I have not heard anything about them coming back.
Yeah. And then let's see. Oh. Here's why EBRs ruined the game. 1, wheel shields, fair. 2, too hard to hit, also pretty fair. 3, they are not tanks in a tank game. Okay, blurring the lines a little bit. They have almost perfect accuracy at top over any terrain. I don't know, that sentence is kind of strange. 5, they ruin the ability for other light tanks to perform properly. Pretty fair, yeah. They can't be tracked, and wheel damage doesn't slow them enough. Also fair. That's something that the devs discussed during our dev Q&A. And 7, they are completely fake and faster than they should be, to the point of ridiculousness. I feel like 7 is not different from number 2, and definitely not and number 3. So I will say you have 6 pretty solid points, Exo. two of them are the same as 7. So, but no. So the devs, like I said, did talk about the wheels. So one of the things talked about with the wheels are the fact that they're technically modeled as like basically blocks of steel. And they're very much like space armor. However, one of the other things about the wheels is a lot of times some people will pen the wheels, but they will not pen the hull because the hull and the wheels don't overlap 100%. So do keep in mind. And then, so I'm not trying to excuse any of your points, but I am trying to, dispel a lot of myths that surround the wheeled vehicles. They are too hard to hit. They are very fast. Imagine how it would have been if we included the boost. Remember when that was a thing? And remember when people said...
The boost was cool.
Remember when people said that without the boost, EBRs would be useless? Yeah, I remember that. I also remember saying that their view range was too small to be useful as a light tank. I also remember that.
1.2Ks hits so hard. Yeah, we'll platoon at any tier. We actually, if you get in the platoon with us, it's your platoon or your tier choice.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go back to garage because we're all dead.
It's gonna be an interesting finish there, though. I think we can win.
Auto lock.
So I did see there's some comments about only French nation has wheeled vehicles.
Yeah.
So we actually were working on some other nations' wheeled vehicles. I believe at one point we talked about British wheeled vehicles being something the devs were working on. One of the reasons that we have not moved forward with making other nations wheeled vehicles is because we feel that there's an issue with the current French wheeled vehicles. So you probably won't see a new wheeled vehicle line until we feel the wheeled vehicles are in a better place.
Yeah. And then, so Dead Meat. So the lead assistant was introduced after, I believe. It took a little bit for us to introduce the lead assistant for the auto-aim on wheeled vehicles.
Oh, by the way, earlier Mike Ruth said that he thought that he was at the top of the platoon list. Did we end up skipping him?
Oops. Hold on. Mike Ruth. Sorry. So I invited. So this is one of the reasons why I asked Sir Turd the Third to swap over to the other platform, so I could invite him in order, which we will get Mike Ruth in now. So yeah. Wait, wheelies have auto lead? No, they have assistance to clicking on a tank and auto locking.
Hey, when he goes going.
They give you a bigger bubble, basically. To
wheelies literally turn so fast that John Stapp would turn to jelly inside APR. I don't think they're pulling that many Gs, but maybe. How many Gs does a Formula One car pull in a corner? I think they can go up to like 3.5, right? I'm sure somebody in chat knows the exact amount of Gs that a Formula One car pulls in a corner. Don't disappoint me, chat.
Don't disappoint. All right. Let's see. No, they don't, guys. They don't have auto leads. They just have a larger bubble for being able to lock onto a tank.
They have the easy
auto. They don't have auto lead. Auto lead would be insanely overpowered, even on the wheelies.
Did you say wheelies?
Wheelies.
Wheelies.
What about if EBRs only get half their view range in fast mode? It would make them more realistic and more balanced. I could see that being an interesting test.
Exploit my weakness. Hey, how's it going, man? It says, has there been any explanation or have the devs known of the many issues with bushes and concealment? All of us know the fake bushes on Fisherman's Bay. I certainly do. I've forgotten and been destroyed by them several times.
I would love for Swamp to return, Spartan.
When do they expect to fix the many simple bugs this game has since the new graphic engine? So a lot of that has to do with the Havoc interaction with the new engine. I do think a lot of the bushes that destroy, correct me if I'm wrong, Exploit, you might know better than me. But my understanding is a lot of those bushes, they actually have a gap at the bottom, and people are being spotted through those gaps. So I'm not sure if they're, well, it depends on your view, but I don't know if they're bugged or if there's a gap that didn't used to be there.
But bush shapes matter.
Yes.
Hashtag bush shapes matter.
Yeah, so a lot of those bushes, people are getting spotted through gaps.
But no,
I think there are a few specific ones that are bugged though.
Yeah, so if you guys are having issues with terrain meshing on any setting, please, please, please take a video, replay anything, and send it to support. And if you can, if you have me on Discord, which you should, because if you're in the Discord, you have a direct line to basically all of the community staff. You guys can send me the ticket number and just say, hey, this is a terrain meshing issue. Here you go. I'll take the ticket and I'll forward it on to the right path. So.
Yeah, Foss said some bushes are actually being fixed next patch. Yeah, so real quick summary for those of you who weren't around at the time or maybe missed it. When 1.0 came out, all the maps had to be completely rebuilt. That's one of the reasons that 1.0 took so long. One of the downsides of trying to remake all the maps in a compressed time period is that some of the stuff like little gaps in bushes that maybe weren't intended to be there got left. So currently, as Voss mentioned, Vex the Best mentioned, so there's some changes to some of the original 1.0 maps that are going to fix some of those issues. Boss Dog said that Formula 1 cars do 4 to 6 Gs cornering. That's amazing. Spartan Gaming said, will some of the maps pre 1.0 ever make a return, such as Swamp and Windstorm?
Pearl River.
Pearl River? I don't know specifically about either of those maps, Spartan. I believe Swamp was being worked, but I don't know. I haven't heard a status update in a while. The answer is like a tentative yes, maybe not all of them though. And that unfortunately making maps takes unfortunately a really long time.
One Scharfschwitz says they do 3D graphics and getting meshes to join or overlap is really difficult.
Yeah, especially when you're mixing a new physics engine into a 15-year-old game engine.
3D models are very difficult. It's why a lot of people go to school for years to do this.
That is the cause of like the slippery rocks thing, as the devs mentioned in the stream. The interaction of the new Havoc physics with the big world game engine. Yeah, no worries, Exploit. Life's been crazy for everyone lately. Essie says, this isn't a mean question, but the Waffen Trigger E100 would be balanced in the current game. Do you agree or no?
I don't think so.
So I think the approach to balance it would be to look at like the Foch B, right? Like the Foch B is in the game and it's terrifying, but it has a bunch of negative attributes that make it so the clip damage isn't super insane. I think the issue with the Waffen Trigger is it just had too many shots and too much damage, so ultimately that would have to be still nerfed, I think.
Shoot. I'm dead here.
Fear to Destroyer says, do we have an estimate time frame of the new Polish line? No, we do not. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, we have announced that there is a new Polish medium line coming. That appears to be likely to be the next line that hits the tech trees. And we actually just had a super test leak of the Tier 8 Premium today. So it'll be this year. That's about as specific as I am sure right now.
Alright, so, and then Sir Turd the Third wants to know how to join the platoon queue. All you have to do in Twitch is to type _join, put a space, and then type out your username. That way I know exactly who to invite. Which, by the way, one Scharfschwitz, what's your in-game name? Because that's definitely not it, because I tried finding you.
Exploit My Weakness says, in my opinion, the waffle would be just as broken currently, very specifically since some of the map reworks actually favor tank destroyers by creating certain spots for them to cover flanks. The waffle confirmed so much. What do you, just out of curiosity, what do you think about the waffle compared to the Foch, though? Like, why isn't the Foch dominating games? Is it just because the bloom is so big on the Foch? Ort says that I will be starting a medium crew to train it for them. Yeah. Finally, the Poodle has a purpose, by the way. The Poodle is such a fun tank.
So my thoughts also on the Foch are it doesn't have the greatest mobility in the world, and then also on top of that, the aim time is kind of ridiculous. It's
no turret.
Yeah, it also doesn't have a turret, so it's highly limited.
But if you're just camping and holding a flank,
yeah. But so is the Badger, and I feel like the Badger does it way better. It has better aim time, has better armor, has less weak spots frontally. Yeah. Also has faster load time, and it's not a clip, but I think it could out DPM the Foch actually.
Yeah, or also point out the Rudy Polish for the Polish mediums. Definitely, yes. And the Rudy's a great tank, by the way.
Okay.
I mean, the turret's cool, but again, if you're just camping a flank, I don't know if the turret alone is gonna be a huge difference. That said, I hate case-mated tank destroyers, so maybe I should remember that.
Would it be possible to get, again, the camouflage style of Steel Hunter in Expedition game mode? So my guess is with Steel Hunter, it'll probably have... Cabbage, do you want to hop out of that match?
Yeah.
With Steel Hunter, as we saw with this year's Frontline, is you can have the option of earning other or previous rewards from previous events. So you can earn like previous Steel Hunter rewards possibly. Ooh, right, tier 6.
So Daniel on YouTube said, so what's the deal with the ISU 152K? Hearing rumors it's a cash grab reselling the old BL10. So here's the deal with the ISU 152K. And I'll eat some crow on this. The BL10 got removed from the ISU 152 tech tree a couple of years ago. The 152K premium tank that just came out has the gun that was removed. A lot of people are upset about this. They feel like we took something that was free and now we're reselling it to people. And I think that is a valid complaint. The justification, which I will admit is hypocritical before I tell you it, is that the ISU version in the game did not have the BL10. The ISU 152K variation did. So it is more historically accurate. However, as many of you will be quick to point out, we have made many decisions that are not historically accurate for gameplay purposes. So take it as you will. It was removed a couple years ago from the tech tree tank. The 152K has been balanced around that gun specifically. It is a premium tank. If you are upset about that, I can understand why. And if you don't want to buy it as a result, I completely understand why. That said, I do think by itself, the 152K is a pretty interesting and balanced premium. So take it as you will. Exploit says Foch B suffers from Pen and Alpha. Foch 155 gun is terrible bloom. The Foch platform causes you to expose your tank so much the armor becomes irrelevant. The waffle gun at the time was the best on the game when released, so snapping and pulling back into cover is easy. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think what I was trying to get at is I think that the waffle could be balanced in the same way that the Foch has been balanced with the negatives outside of just the pure damage potential.
Let's see. Exploit is basically confirming my thoughts about the Foch, which is it has worse armor. Also terrible bloom. Yup.
We have not given away 152K. We weren't able to until actually it went on sale, which it did this week.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central. I think it's very likely a 152K might be given away during tomorrow's stream. Wow. I would rate that likelihood as extremely high. Just don't tell anyone, it's a secret.
It's a secret just for our viewers, guys. What's in the cup, Tragic? Coffee! Because Tragic is a sleepy dinosaur. You know, I would love to put equipment on this tank just to make the bloom better. Imagine snapshot KV2. Let me do that. I can't imagine that the first slot would not be gunpowder, right?
Sugi says, if I were to win, could I gift it to my buddy? Interesting question.
So, can I?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys, so I'm gonna create the way that we're gonna do the giveaway. So, if you would like to put whatever username that you want to when you enter, you can do so, including and up to if it is or is not your account. However, we will not allow gifting the prize to someone. So if you catch my drift, enter your username or whatever username you please.
So basically, if you want your friend to win, enter his username when we put up the contest tomorrow.
There you go. See, I like doing tragic speak, and then Cabbage just like swoops in and is just like, "This is what tragic actually means."
M44. Yeah, should have read that flank a bit earlier.
Yowza! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Sumo says, how does one get a tank back to be accidentally sold by accident?
Yeah.
Sumo, we actually have a, if it is a premium, we have a system in game that you can do it through it automatically.
You should play the Foch and Badger side by side. Do you have the Foch, Cabbage? Or the Badger?
I
have
think
both.
So. I have both too, I think.
Okay. I'll play the Badger, you can play the Foch. Called it. I'm looking in the shop. Have this credit. What does that mean? Not 100% sure what you mean there, Deathman. I'm looking in the shop and the ISU 152K has this credit card with an arrow pointing back to it in the picture of the vehicle. Oh, I don't know. I feel like the Foch is more of a assassin tank because of the mobility issues and because of the bloom issues. So if you get into a place where you can basically sit and be available to allow your bloom to shrink, I feel like it's a much better tank in that situation. I also think it's a really good first assault tank. As a lot of people played the Waffentrager E100 to the advantage that you could hide in a bush and then unload your clip very quickly, the Foch can't exactly do that, but it can get a lot of damage in if you position yourself right and catch people out of sorts trying to get into position, although the speed is a little limiting. So some maps you might be more limited, but other maps you should be okay to snipey snipe. So ooh, did I earn base capture points? No. Two of you got that wrong. Shame.
Magoo's got this. Maybe not. Stay behind the rock, Magoo.
Say that again. Say that again. That again? Is that what you wanted me to say?
Alright, P. Magoo. Already gotcha. I feel you. Already got me too.
Yeah, the pen is pretty disappointing, but you know, it's, I feel like I said, it's a tank that you want to try and catch people out of sorts, which means you want to catch people on the side, or you want to catch people who don't think there's a tank there, and then surprise, tank. So, you know. Alright, thank you. Sorry about our bad plays, Mr. Schwar. Mr. Schwar, I appreciate you joining us. We're gonna get in the next person, who is Abe Sidarian. Abe Sidarian. Is that your in-game name? I hope so. It's gonna be interesting.
This automod thing and saying Foshby is it blocking you from saying Fosh?
I'm gonna guess this is you because I feel like no one. There we go. I was gonna say I feel like no one else would have that username. I like when people have. So for this one, I'm gonna actually pick a tier 10, so that way we can get the Foch and the Badger in. There we go. Every time I say Foshby, it gets auto-modded. That's funny. It's probably because it sounds like the word Foch. You know the other word I'm trying to say.
Probably the worst Foch 155 player on the server.
Oof.
But I'll do it.
Good luck. All right, we're doing a tier 10. Bat chat 25.
As I said, it's a Foshby with better stats to tear it all for one last round.
Any news on the Polish line? No news at this time. Now I gotta try the Foshby. Then I'll call it the Fussby. That's fine. Go for it. But no, this is Hazelnut. Or sorry, not Hazelnut. Not this time. That was last week. That is Caramel.
When you say newt, are you referring to nut or amphibian?
Hazelnut.
So it's amphibian flavored coffee?
Hazelnut. What's oh. I think someone responded to you. Where are you?
In the meantime, Exploit says, let me ask this about you. Out of the 3 reward tanks for the current season of the expedition, which ones do you enjoy the most? For me, it's the A Phase 1 barely over the Char for Chur 4. So I gotta be honest, I have not played the Char for Chur 4 yet.
Okay, so I think someone did respond to you, but basically that means that you can refund that tank as long as you don't play battle in it, whereas I believe the other ones you can't refund? I feel like there should be an explanation somewhere on that symbol. Oh yeah, intraclip reload is terrible, but at the very least, you do have the nice, I don't even know what to call it. Where was I going with that? At least you're allowing your bloom to shrink.
C on YouTube says, what's the reason behind removing the binocular telescope from the lighting and media take? So that was asked earlier, and basically the answer is right now is this is still a very early sandbox test, and I don't have the answer to that specific question yet. However, we will be asking about. Ooh, well, there's one wheelie boy down.
Wow. Well, Foshby suck. Anyways.
Well, this is the 155, not the BA thing.
Thank you for the shout out. I appreciate that you like my lovely dino suit. No, that's not a shoot through. I thought I was able to do like sneaky, but I don't think I can.
But yeah, we're gonna ask those questions. I don't have answers right now. It is just an experiment right now, so it may not even be permanent.
Both these changes make passive scouting hard. Can you expand on that? I don't know if you... It doesn't look like you
It's kind of obvious if you don't have binoculars and you're passive scouting behind a bush.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Fair.
You're definitely losing some of your total vision potential and some of your total camo potential.
Yeah. But there is, I don't remember what it was called, but you can extend your, how long something is lit for an extra 2 seconds, which is actually a lot considering there's only 2 things that you can do to extend your, time that you're spotting something.
So, I'm in the middle of a 40-second reload, so in the meantime I'm checking my email, checking my stocks.
So basically you're playing artillery, right?
You know, the great thing about playing a tank like the Foch 155 is you can just get all your like chores done in between reloads. But oh, sorry, just to finish my thoughts on the reward vehicles. Of the ones that I have spent time playing so far, I do enjoy the AE Phase 1. I think it's a nice little tank. But I gotta be honest, sometimes I play the AE Phase 1 and then I'm like, you know what? I think I'd rather just be playing the Renegade right now. And then I just go play the Renegade. Which, I just love the Renegade. It's a great tank.
Don't be rude, Artie. I'm sorry.
Where is the
Wow.
wargaming?
Did you just physic abuse me?
Yes.
Physics abuse.
Yes, because I'm trying to shoot this guy down there.
Wow.
I missed all my shots. Total potato. Nice. That Badger DPM is so good.
So good. Love it. Give me that badge DPM. Evil trivia question. So, guys, I spent a good portion of my last couple days writing more trivia questions for Azarus. I will have you know that they are just going to get harder, so I highly recommend that you touch up on some of your mechanics knowledge, because it's gonna count. It's gonna matter. I'm just gonna slowly push into this Type 61.
The city. Clip these guys. Blues Bandit says, "Bring it on." He's ready for it. He's ready for it.
Are you? Are you?
Exiled says, "My friend and I love to wreck Badgers on our E100." So yeah.
Hey, E-dubs, I don't know if you can, but, and I don't know if they're in Azarus yet, but if you can pick some of the harder ones that I just wrote up for Azarus, that would be fantastic. I would love to see some of those harder trivias show up. Can I? Can't even see this guy. Dead.
Yeah, now it sounds like I need to brush up on my cabbage lore. You know, I gotta be honest. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and there's actually quite a lot of cabbage lore out there.
There is a lot of cabbage lore. There's a lot of Domo lore, and
There's way more. Yeah. Well, the thing is that all of our lores are also Domo's lore,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he gets a lot of boost.
So basically, anything that they've written for me and you are also in Domo's.
Domo's, yeah, that's true. For those of you who had no idea what we're talking about, there used to be a conspiracy theory that Domo and I were the same person, and then just kind of turned into everyone is Domo sapien.
I don't actually remember where I can shoot that. I'll see if I can make one on the fly, but they are not in the system yet. Darn. But I think I can make one. Stand by. Alrighty. See, I just want one of those really hard ones to go out, just so people can see, like, how difficult the trivia questions are gonna be in the future. Cause, man. I'll have to, like, go look and see what else I wrote out. Because there are some real hard ones.
Woo! Shout out to AB Sidarian putting up 7,300 damage. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Oh boy!
That is a
Definitely
monster game, AB Sidarian. Monster. That might be the biggest game we've had in a platoon.
Yeah, seriously.
Or from from somebody in platoon with us. I mean, wow, what a game! 7,300, 7,346 to be specific. And just so I don't miss anything, he blocked 390 damage and did about 1,000 assistance, so just absolutely monster game for AB Sidarian.
True facts.
So who won? I actually enjoyed playing the Foch that game, so I guess we all did.
I'm no longer good at any trivia. I only have 2 active brain cells.
You've got 1.5 more than me left, Sharf. Enjoy them.
Oh, goodness. Streamer's
Crimson
choice.
says streamer's choice. What do you want, Tragic?
No, you. Okay, let's go for some fun.
Ooh, tier 4, huh?
Yeah, tier 4. 3 people got that last one wrong? Guys, come on, man.
I'm feeling Luxie.
Ooh.
That was bad. Yeah, boo. That was bad.
All
I
right.
apologize.
Is it possible to have negative brain cells?
I think it's possible to have negatively charged brain cells.
I'm not gonna say what I was thinking because I feel like I'd get in a lot of trouble for it, so... I'm just gonna drink my coffee and pretend like I never thought what I thought.
How did you enjoy playing the Badger last game?
Honestly, I wish that I knew how to play TDs better, but I wish I knew where to go because the tank is still relatively slow. It's not hyper mobile like it is. It does come from the AT line, which is very heavily armored TDs, front facing assault TDs, quote unquote. I like it. I like it. I don't love it. I wouldn't play it on a whim, but
On a what?
I wouldn't play it on a whim.
A whim or a whim?
A whim. Cool whip. Assault TDs go with heavies. Fair, fair. Just fired one of your questions, I guess not too hard. Ah, nice. Well, that's fair. That was one, yeah, that was one of my easier ones. What? Go for one of my harder ones.
So I did get the Lukes in a tier 6 game, which not quite as fun as the Lukes in a tier 4 game.
I just realized I don't have Sixth Sense on this.
Yeah, some people talking about Bush. Definitely remember
Push
that
mechanics.
Bush gives you a bonus to your camo. It does not make you invisible.
Yes.
Unless you're an E25.
Yes. I have, you guys probably can't hear him, but I have a cat outside my room that is desperate to say hi to Mom. Desperate, I say. He wants to be in. He wants to be in his room, Mother. Why have you locked him out?
No! No, I'm gonna burn.
What did you do?
I
What
got
have
lit
you
on
done?
fire.
Oh wow. Why?
Well, I didn't plan to.
Okay, so I'm gonna push it. Because that seems like a great... Ouch! That was a great idea until I got hit with the shell. As
Spring
you
fight
do.
comes in. Fight. I appreciate the support.
I have no friends at all. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, they totally just rolled us in the south.
Well, here's not much better because I have no friends at all.
Like I said, I was making a training video this morning and realized there was a rumble in the background. It was my cat 6 feet away snoring.
Oh my goodness. Cats, I love them. bad spot now. This is very bad for traffic. Ah, no! I've been abandoned
New question
by
coming up on
every
Azra's,
friend
folks.
that I ever knew. Anyways, I have no friends at all. Mood. Ooh, true or false? AP and APCR experience the same shell normalization. I want to know how many people know the answer to that one.
It's gonna be a good one, I think.
Yeah, you got a 50-50 chance if you don't know.
I'm gonna laugh if I'm wrong.
Why are you answering? Don't answer in chat. Answer in
chat.
Azarus.
It could be the wrong answer, folks. Remember that the reward gets split based on how many people answer correctly. So there is an incentive for people to answer wrong.
26 correct out of 40. See, that's one of my harder ones. So,
Yeah, but you guys beat the 50-50.
Yeah. So to respond to people in chat, AP and APCR do not have the same shell normalization. Basically, AP does have a flat front, and due to this, when you hit at an angle, the flat front gives it a slight tilt and can generally turn it in maybe a more favorable angle to be able to penetrate your tank. However, APCR flies faster than AP, but has no normalization. That is because it is a spiked front. That means it does not turn in a direction when you hit a flat side. So, there you go. Heat also does not care about your angled tank. You are correct, Vex. But yeah, guys, AP does have normalization, which means in some cases, shooting an angled tank with AP may pen better than shooting an angled tank with APCR. There you go. Alright, anyways, we are going to invite Sir Turd the Third, who's joined into the platoon queue again.
Great name.
Fantastic.
I laughed at that in 3rd grade, and I'm laughing at it now. Timeless.
Okay, I am getting, like, a lot of shiny on my face because of the light in the... Ooh,
Because you're glowing.
Because you're glowing.
You're glowing.
You're glowing. Meow. Sorry, every time my cat meows, I have to copy him because he's ridiculous. So
Duvok is bringing out the big ol' FE4005, and Tragic is responding with the Death Star. I can't also do it.
Pick something similar.
I can't also do a Death Star. Can I, chat?
You can. Yeah, you can.
I'll bring a huge alpha tank, but not that one.
Okay, fair.
Just because I feel like if you do 3 of those, you're really rolling the dice. Duvok
nice.
wants to know what Azarus is.
So Azarus is an extension that we have on Twitch in which you can answer challenge questions or trivia questions. There's a difference between the two, so I have to make the distinction. But you can answer questions and you can earn Azza, which are points that you can use to purchase real in-game goods in World of Tanks in the Azarus store. So if you guys want to participate in that, all you have to do is hop over to Twitch. You do not have to... Well, you do have to sign up, but you don't have to input no credit cards or anything, but you can just slowly accrue points, and you can purchase in-game goods. Also, the difference between trivia and challenge questions. Challenge questions are questions that you get based on the game that we just played in World of Tanks. So it'll ask you questions like, how much damage did I do? How many tanks did I kill? Did I get base capture points? Stuff like that. And then trivia questions are questions that are based on game knowledge. But yeah, and as Edub said, you can log in with your Twitch login to the Azarus store.
Okay, real quick.
I'm going to follow.
Earlier, you guys were asking about the credit card with the loop on it on the ISC 152K bundle in the store. What that is, it's our first testing of an exclusive offer with the ISC 152K. It's a refundable bundle, so you can actually use it buy it, use it for 2 weeks, and then refund it if you don't like it. So it's the first time that we've done something like that intentionally. Experimenting with giving you more flexibility in purchasing a premium tank. See if you really like it, if it's something you want. Honestly, I think you're going to have a good time with the 152K because it hits like, I believe our content guys decided it hits like a bag of hammers. I think it sounds about right.
Interesting.
So that is your answer to the why the 152K has a weird credit card loop logo on it in the store.
Credit card loop. Oh, that's a really cool option. Yeah. So theoretically, guys, you can purchase the tank, refund it. If you like it, you can purchase it again with extra goodies. Whoop.
That's also a secret test, by the way. Tell everyone.
What?
What do you think about the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen have similar stats to the Leopard 1 with less damage and make it sort of a mini Leopard? Right now it's so worse LT and the ABR obviously pushed further. I'm for it. I actually, when they changed the Panzerwagen to be a little less, if I remember correctly, it's been a while. If I remember correctly, the gun used to be a little less accurate and hit harder, and I think I actually liked that more. I do think the Panzerwagen needs some love, and I think that's generally an issue with the Tier 10 lights in general. Generally an issue with the, yeah, generally in general. The Tier 10 lights are just not in a good place, and I would welcome a lot of different concepts to try and improve them.
I was talking about the scout medal. Whoa, hello. Why is there a conqueror way back where? Interesting.
Why is the RNG not biased in my favor? I'm a wargaming employee. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Crunchy Robot says, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to read the same exact thing that you said.
Any talk of the Storm Tiger being developed? Yeah, there has been talk. It's one of those vehicles where it's really hard to balance because it should probably destroy anything it hits. And even if you make the game so horrible to play that can barely ever hit anything, it's not fun to play. And if you make it so it can hit stuff, it's hilariously difficult. It's hilariously OP, right? So it's one of those vehicles that the concept of bringing it into the game and having it being fun and enjoyable is really, it's difficult. All right. Oh, I can't see this. I'm coming to help with that super conch, I think.
Okay, yeah. I can't really turn my tank.
I have a 277 blocking me from getting in there.
Yeah.
Oh, 277 set him on fire. Got him.
Help! Help!
Oh, I'm turning. Nice.
Oh god. That was very
they actually
scary.
pushed together as a group there. That was crazy.
Not quite. All of his friends are still behind. But yes, they did a very, very good push.
I got to just decide to put a shell into the top of a tree instead of the tank at where the reticle is. Man, I don't know what it is, but my Polish gunners have not been practicing much recently or something. Oh no, Duvok down.
Ha! Wow. Wowza. Which type of Azarus question or challenge do you prefer? Trivia? Gameplay? Both. A lot of people are saying both. See, I always prefer the trivia questions because I think it's an opportunity for a lot of people who may not know a whole lot about the game to actually learn a bit more about World of Tanks, because I will absolutely expand on the answers that are on the trivia.
How long do you get to try that TD with the refund feature before you can't refund it again? It's 14 days, 2 weeks.
It's like having a rental.
Well, a rental on your credit card.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, aren't all rentals on your credit card?
I guess like a rental car, usually, yeah.
Oh,
Come on! Come on, Gunner! You literally... Oh.
I thought I'd be able to see the E5 from here, but I could not.
Am I allowed to keep putting my name in for the platoon? Yes, you are. However, we do only have 9 minutes left in this particular stream. You will go back to the bottom, and while you can use channel points to boost yourself, we ask that you generally not do that if we have a bunch of people in queue.
How do you refund it? Actually, that's a really good question. How do you refund it?
I believe there's an option built into the store. That's a good question. Shout Wales if you're watching.
Please help. So a lot of people actually like the trivia.
Worst comes to worst, you can submit a CS ticket, and that for sure will do it. I think there's probably a more convenient mechanism.
Probably.
Yeah, we can't comment on disciplinary action towards specific players in game. We have talked a little bit about that specific player, and I am aware of it, guys. It is something that me and the CS manager pay attention to.
Twitching now and then? No, there is no way to transfer your NA account to the EU server currently.
Wills, there was a question about how people can refund the ISU 152K bundle. If there's a button they can push, or do they just submit a ticket like previously?
Trivia is always the same, unless Wargaming doesn't know their own mechanics. I wrote a lot of them, and I used my plethora of game mechanic experts I have access to write some of them. So please, like, if one of the answers or one of them is incorrect, let me know, and we'll get the nice people at Azarus to fix it. Otherwise, I really hope they're all right, because I spent a lot of time making sure they were. So, anyways, with 7 minutes left, I don't believe we have enough time for another match, so thank you, Sir Turd.
So Wales, by the way, did say submit a ticket to support, and we can get it. That's how you'll get it refunded.
So do you want to answer 9-5's question?
9-5 says, just putting out there that 100% agree with XO6, and if you guys are already aware of the account, then why isn't something already done? Okay, well, we can talk about it again specifically. The issue with the account in question is that it's not technically against the rules to play poorly. So we have a lot of specific rules on the book. If you ruin the game for somebody else, if you physics abuse the game for someone else, if you go AFK, if you use illegal mods, it's not technically against the rules to choose to play in a non-optimal fashion. I know that makes a lot of people mad. However, we have some levels of accountability when it comes to taking disciplinary actions, and that's one of the trickier ones. That doesn't mean we're not looking at it and trying to find the case of doing something outside of that, but the simple reality is it is not against the rules to play poorly.
And guys, if you believe that they are breaking the rules, let's say something like unsportsmanlike conduct, you are still allowed to report them as such. And through these reports, if it is found that they are breaking those rules, sanctions will be applied. But, like Cabbage said, we aren't allowed to discuss the disciplinary actions taken against players. So like I said, submit replays, make sure you make a ticket if you believe that they are playing unsportsmanlike.
Sharp says, how about people who push tanks into water or off cliffs? That is definitively physics abuse, and if you submit a replay, they will get banned.
And SPG's drowning is also physics abuse, so please submit it as
unsportsmanlike. Yeah.
So please submit those.
Isn't it ruining the game for the whole team by intentionally suiciding every game? Speaking about a completely hypothetical person. Sure. However, if that person also actually scouted and shot at enemy tanks and actually surprisingly often destroyed enemy SPGs and stuff, it's hard to argue that they're basically, guys, there's a fine line here between someone who's walking a line very carefully. If a lot of people were to report that hypothetical person, say an overwhelming amount, so that there would be complete security in people,
the feelings and opinions of the spirit of the game,
that their attitudes are being rejected by the community, that would help the case considerably.
Yes. So if you guys have replays or anything, we do have a support channel that you can submit these replays and hypothetically put said player's name into the person whom you are reporting. Just make sure you add those all to the ticket, and otherwise, I think that's all we have to say on that matter. Anyways,
I just want to say, like, I definitely understand the frustration.
Yeah.
There, folks,
it's
and
frustrating
like I said, it's something that we are aware of and are discussing.
Yeah.
But it's not always as simple as it appears.
What if I fall in water because it happened to me a few times? As long as you're not doing it... Okay, so in terms of accidentally falling off cliffs and stuff, this is why we ask for replays when it comes to physics abuse, because we want to be able to see intention behind what is going on in a game, and we cannot do that without replays, hence why we ask you guys to submit replays with physics abuse tickets. So does it fall under...
So
yeah.
Unsportsmanlike it too is again the question. If the hypothetical person is scouting and dealing damage and shooting at enemies, the line between unsportsmanlike conduct gets pretty fuzzy.
Yeah. Where's the replay file located at? It should be inside the same folder that your World of Tanks game exe is in, so you should be able to pretty easily find it, normally in programs, games, and then inside that is World of Tanks NA, and then inside that there's replays.
Actually, we have a knowledge base article, I believe, that I can link you 1 second.
Okay. Does a timestamp help? Yes, 1,000%. So if you guys are submitting timestamps, that helps 1,000%. Then our CS people do not have to peruse through the whole 10-20 minutes of the whole of the game and try to find what you're talking about. So. Also, guys, let me give you a quick tip. If you don't want to turn on replays for all battles, if you turn on last replay, you can actually rename the file before it overwrites it with your next battle. So basically, go into your replays, rename the file, and it'll basically lock it so that way it doesn't get overwritten. That way you're not saving every single battle, and it helps with file sizes for replays are actually very small, but it'll help if you have not a lot of space.
And that's what I recommend doing as well. And if you have a particularly great game, you can just rename it.
Yeah.
Replay files are fairly small. It won't screw you up if you get a ton, but it can get out of hand if you play a lot.
Or you can also upload it to whatreplays.com.
Okay, so by the way, there is a section in the article linked for the 152K about how to refund them. You go to the player support portal, click on payments, codes, and premium shop. Then there's a button for I'd like a refund. Then create ticket, and CS can get you.
Okay, it's whatreplays.eu. My bad. Sorry, guys.
I think if you go to .com, it'll automatically redirect you to EU, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, I believe.
So yeah, it's fine. By the way, guys, I did get an answer from Wales. Thank you, Shots of Wales, if you're still here. The question earlier about why certain equipment has been left off certain vehicles, for example, binoculars on light vehicles, coated optics on tank destroyers. The current equipment configurations were done only as part of the test. If there is another sandbox, we will probably try other limitations or remove all limitations on equipment.
Yeah.
So there's
Sandbox
the answer.
is a test.
It is still very much experimental at this point. Just because binocs are currently not available on light tank does not mean that they won't be available when it comes to live server. We are trying to get you to try some of those new pieces of equipment, because what we're really trying to collect out on is how those new pieces of equipment perform, especially in different configurations. So by all means, please get on the sandbox, try different configurations, try different modules. Let us know what you think about it. We'll be automatically collecting data on it anyway, even if you don't want to type up a foreign post or something. Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Otherwise, I believe that is just about the end of the stream, so I want to thank you all for joining us. We will be back on tomorrow. We always have, we try to have 2 streams every single week. For those of you who are just coming in, and if the code above is used up, I will post the weekly watcher code during the stream, normally the YouTube code during the stream tomorrow, and I'm also going to put it in the pinned comments on today's video. Otherwise, Cabbage, any last words?
Nope, just be kind to people. It's a tough time.
And
no reason to make people's lives worse.
Yeah. And other than that, if you guys would give a warm Sherman Gang welcome to the Devil Dog, we are going to be raiding him, so please give
Devil
him
Dog.
all of your love. And we will see you tomorrow.
And shout out to our boy Jimmy Cribb, who's deployed.
Oh man, I didn't know. Okay, well, shout out to Jimmy Cribb.